The standalone house stood on the outskirts of a rural town, an ancient structure teetering on the thin line between a horrifying history and the closely intertwined realms of two worlds. Over the years, this house had become a repository for the ghosts of a forgotten past, harboring dark secrets that spilled over with every creaking floorboard. Mrs. Anderson, the owner of the house, was an elderly woman who had lived in this dwelling for many years. One day, rumors began circulating among the townsfolk about strange sounds echoing through the night and peculiar lights flickering through the windows of Anderson's abode. Despite Mrs. Anderson's attempts to reassure the townspeople, she herself had become intrigued by something related to the old graveyard. Passing through the gate in the yard of the standalone house, Mrs. Anderson found herself in the eerie moonlit glow of an ancient graveyard, neglected and overgrown. The graveyard had succumbed to the passage of time. The tombstones, remnants of a bygone era, were weathered to the point of illegible. For one particular grave, a faint mist enveloped her. The name on the tombstone became clear: Eleanor Blackwood. Mrs. Anderson tried to recall this. In that moment, a pale hand emerged from the soil of the grave, lightly touching Mrs. Anderson's skirt. Startled, she recoiled as the earth around the grave seemed to breach the boundaries between life and an attempt to retrieve something from the world of the deceased. Suddenly, the ghost of Eleanor Blackwood materialized. With a pallid face and sorrowful eyes, she gazed at Mrs. Anderson. Eleanor had departed from this world many years ago, yet her spirit lingered, still in pursuit of a secret from beyond the veil. "Eleanor," Mrs. Anderson whispered, her voice trembling. "How can I help you find peace?" The ghost of Eleanor began to reveal the dark story behind a tragedy that unfolded in Mrs. Anderson's home years ago. Listening to this grim tale, Mrs. Anderson understood that her house was truly a bridge between two worlds, and Eleanor's spirit would not find peace until the secrets were brought to light. However, in the process, she had to confront horrifying events as the house overflowed with the ghosts of the past. Mrs. Anderson struggled to find balance between the two worlds. The graveyard became a place where the thin line between the living and the dead blurred, a realm where dark secrets and ghosts of the past intertwined. Eventually, Mrs. Anderson succeeded in bringing peace to Eleanor's soul. However, after this experience, the standalone house became an even more mysterious and ominous place in the eyes of the townspeople. Subscribe for more true story summaries. Like the video.